Hello everyone. So this time I'm gonna go into Pokemon a little bit. And just like all the big YouTubers when they go, this isn't financial advice, this is just my opinion and all that. Yeah, I suppose it's just my opinion. Like, if you want my real opinion, don't buy cardboard, buy a house. If you're doing it purely to make money, get a mortgage, buy an house. It'll go up way quicker than your Pokemon cards will. If you croak it, you can leave it to someone who's going to know to put on the housing market. If you drop dead and you've got 20 grams worth of Pokemon cards, is your wife going to know what to do with it? Is your kid going to know what to do with it? Is your mum going to know what to do with it? So this is just, if you're new to Pokemon and you're interested in getting into it, a few people from my last video, the sports cards, is it really worth it? Are you better putting your money elsewhere? Should you look into Pokemon? Is Pokemon a good comparison against sports cards? It actually got positive reviews. A few people shared it. I had quite a few chats with people. I actually know a couple of people who are tempted to get into Pokemon, but they're like, where the bloody hell do I start? It's so broad, it's so different to sport cards. So this is my attempt to, if you're new to Pokemon, if you're coming back from Pokemon after being, like me, you were 10 years old and you had maybe base set Jungle Fossil, you played Red and Blue, and then you got too cool, you found girls, and now you're 35 and you're like, God, life sucks. I wish I could go back to a simpler time when pulling a shiny piece of cardboard with a lizard on brought me joy. Then this is like how to get back into it. And it's just my opinion. There's going to be different opinions. Different budgets will dictate on what you should do. The reasons you're coming back will dictate what you do. But I thought I'll give you my opinion on, is it a good idea to go back to Pokemon after all this time, or should you just avoid it completely? And I guess I'm going to start with why. Why are you coming back? So if you're coming back purely because you're trying to make money, it's just silly. Pokemon's never going to go out of business. It's the highest grossing media franchise worldwide. It's bigger than Disney. It's bigger than Marvel. It's massive. It's not going anywhere. That's a simple fact. But if you're going, oh, I've got £500 a month that I'm just going to put into cardboard, why? Why would you do that? My God. Save your money, buy a car. Save your money, get an extension. Do your garden. Like, be a grown up and enjoy your money. If you're doing this purely and simply because you're thinking, oh, well, if I buy £1,000 worth of cars this year, next year they might be worth 5,000. No. The biggest key with Pokemon is time in the market is better than knowledge, in my opinion. If you buy anything today, and I don't care if it's a 50p card, a £100 booster box, or a £500 slab, if you try and flip it in 2 weeks, probably not going to go well for you. If you hold it for 3 years, guarantee you've lost no money. You might have even, the booster box might have, if you're lucky, doubled in price. The slab, if you brought an Altar Umbreon 3 months ago, and then now, you probably made 6, 7, 800 quid pretty easy. So over 3 years, you're going to do well. You're not going to lose money, but nothing's going to be on fire sale. If you hold it for 10 years, though, I've got stuff that I've had 10 years. I paid 40 quid for. It's now worth like 3,500, 4,000. Time in the market is better than any knowledge. And that's going to be controversial, I'm sure, but it's just simple that if you went out today and brought the 5 best Charizards and Pikachus that are available today in the new modern set in a PSA 10, in 10 years' time, they are going to be worth more. And if you know nothing else other than Pikachu, Charizard, and PSA 10s, you will make money. I am pretty certain that is a statement that anyone listening will agree with. But take out the money. Are you getting into it because you've gone to all these card shows? You like, maybe you collect basketball and you collect soccer cards, football cards, but every single room it's 70% Pokemon, 30% sport. And you're like, I'm at all these shows. I've got a bit of spare money just for fun. When I was growing up, I loved Hitmonchan because it reminded me of a boxer and I liked boxing. If you brought one Hitmonchan card raw at every show for between 50p and £5, you'll get a nice little collection and it means something to you. Go for it. Equally, maybe you've got a kid on the way. Maybe you've got a 4-year-old now. He's got his first Pokemon game is on the Switch. And you're there, and secretly, when the wife's out of the room, you're thinking, oh God, I want to throw some Pokeballs and catch some Pokemon. And it's just a little bit of interest. But going forward over the next 5-10 years, that's something that you and your kid can kind of do together. Go for it. Like, if you're coming back up, like, it's literally like I said, like, God, you're old and you just want to go back to simpler times, go for it. You have to have a genuine interest. I would say, if you've got no interest, if you don't know your Pikachu from a piece of poo, don't go into this. If you want to go to the zoo and see a crocodile instead of getting a Pokemon card with a lizard on, well, go to the zoo. You have to have some, whether it's memories 20 years ago, whether it's thinking about your kid now, whether it's you see all these cards at card shows, you need a genuine, that little spark. And from there, if it goes into a rage and fire, then brilliant. If it stays as like a little sparkler sizzling away in the background, then so be it. But you need to have a piece of genuine interest. After that, you're back in. You've decided, no, I'm back in Pokemon. I'm gonna just get something that might have value in future, or something that is always going to be popular. And if in 2 years' time I'm like, oh, why did I waste my money? Can I sell it? The easiest thing I would say is collect popular Pokemon. It's very easy to go out to your local shop. Christ, even garages, petrol stations, they sell Pokemon cards now. It's very easy. Oh, you orders come to £15.60. I got a packet of Pokemon cards on counter for £4. I'll round it up to 20. I'll buy a pack. You open it. Odds are you're going to get Naffle. And if you are coming back from Gen 1 with all your Pikachus and Charizards and Blastoises, you're going to go through that entire pack and be like, what the bloody hell are some of these Pokemon? You're going to see ice cream cones with faces. You're going to see a dead-looking Pikachu. You're going to see a motorbike lizard. It's in no way the same league as our Charizard was. So it's very easy to like just, I'll rip a few packs. It's a waste of time. You'll do that for 6 months and then realise, God, I've been buying cards for 6 months and I've got nothing to show for it. What a waste of money this has been. I would suggest right now, you go to your card shows, you go on eBay, pick a couple of Pokemon that you always liked. And I've got a tier system of, I'm not going to say their name in the video, but I said to someone like my tier system, if he is going to go into like getting Pokemon. And it's very basic. Charizard and Pikachu. All of the most expensive cards are Charizard or Pikachu, be that holos from back in the day, be that EXs, be that Prime cards, Shining Legends cards, Gold Stars, new Alt Arts. There's always going to be Pokemon in the big categories that outshine others. And if you've got 10 Pokemon, if any of those categories has a Charizard or a Pikachu, they usually do really bloody well. Just below that, I would say Mew, Mewtwo. There are so many amazing Mew and Mewtwo cards. I can't buy the majority. My brother has just got back into Pokemon cards. Was it April this year? No. God, it was a February card show. Yeah, February. It was his first ever card show, and he's gone obsessed Mew and Mewtwo cards. And I keep showing him this card and that exclusive Japanese card. And they're all £500, £600, £800, £1,000. And he's like, I'll stick to the low end and work my way up. I would also say in that next category, Gengar and Lugia. I would say Gengar and Lugia are very popular Pokemon. You've got your Neo Lugia Holo all the way up to your current Alt Art Lugia in the fishing boat. And Gengar, again, he's got the modern Alt Art, but if you look at prices of the XY, is it? Or black and white, the full art, if you go back to Gengar EXs, if you go back to like Sabrina's Gengar Holo First Edition PSA 10, they're always good value. The next tier down, I would say, is your cutie Pokemon or dragons. You can't go wrong. So I would say your next tier down would be your Squirtle, your Bulbasaur, your Charmanders. Psyduck, Magikarp are always popular. Gyarados comes from Magikarp, so that's a good little set to go into. Dragonite's always popular. I said recently people talk about Mimikyu and Greninja a lot. Personally, I hate Greninja. Mimikyu, I do see the appeal. It looks like Pikachu, and there has been cards with it with Gengar. You can't really go wrong at that point. And then I said to him, that would be my tier list. Like, Charizard Pikachu is at the top. Then you've got your Mew, Mewtwo, Gengar, Lugia. Then you've got your cutie starters, Psyducks, Magikarp, Gyarados, Dragonite. Then people would say Greninja, Mimikyu. I don't like them. Category 1, 2, 3, 4. However, I've not mentioned the evolutions. The evolutions have grown exponentially. I would say Charizard has always been at the top, Pikachu's always been at the top, Lugia, Gengar, they've always been near the top. Evolutions, they've always been like semi-popular, especially with like younger girls and like female collectors. But with the Moonbryon now, with some of the original Moonbryon artwork from like the Neo sets, Umbreon is so popular, I would say he's probably top tier with Charizard and Pikachu. And then down the years, when Sylveon first came out, I wanted a dragon Charizard, a dragon evolution. And we got this pink fairy with ribbons on. I hated it. It turned out that ended up being my kid's favourite card. So, because I do Pokemon, because it's something me and the kid have got in common, Sylveon's actually grown to be probably our favourite joint collectible that we have. I always buy a Sylveon card. She's always given Sylveon cards at card shows by people that we know. So, I would say that would be Charizard Pikachu tier, possibly the Mew Mewtwo tier. And then every person's got their own favourite. My personal favourite, if you said to me now you can only get one evolution for your whole collection, it would be Vaporeon. Other people are going to go, in their first ever game, they got a Firestone, they got Flareon. Other people are going to go, well, I got in and my first Pokemon was Leafeon. Those are so underrated still, I believe. I think, you look at the Umbreon prices, I think the others will catch up. I think they're very underrated still. And if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I've basically tried to convert a large chunk of my collection into evolutions. And that's purely and simply because if I drop dead of a heart attack tomorrow, the kid will want them. And it's like a memory that she'll have of me, and she'll have the collection. Whereas if I had all my other stuff, a 2008 holo of a Blaziken, it's not going to sell well. The wife's going to know it's a Pokemon card and it's a holo, but is she going to know what to list on eBay? This way, it goes straight to the kid. If I just drop dead at 20 years' time, and the kid's like, Christ, these cards are worth X amount, if that buys her a new car, great. If it pays for her wedding, great. Like, that's my personal opinion. Evolutions are the thing that I'm going more into now. I don't really have to budget for the high-end Charizard and Pikachus. I can't afford the big Gengars and stuff. Whereas, Christ, even a year ago, you probably could have got the Moonbryon Raw for, what, 250, 300? At that point, even I could have got that. I didn't. But PSA 10 now, if it's approaching, what, 1,500, 2 grand soon, I'm priced out. I can't get that. So, that's, I would say, the tier list. After why are you back? You've got your reason. After you decide what you're going to collect, the Pokemon you're going to collect, you do have to pick vintage or modern, and they are very different. Vintage will always have a special place in my heart. It's what I grew up with. But I can tell you now from eBay listings, if I put up a very nice... Oh, Rayquaza is one I missed. Rayquaza I would put on the same top tier list. Charizard, Pikachu, Mew, Mewtwo, Gengar, Lugia. Rayquaza is very popular. And I was going to say, I can prove that. I had a good Rayquaza card modern and a good Rayquaza card vintage listed on eBay. I don't get tons of eBay views. I certainly don't pay for the bloody advertising and shit like that. The vintage holo, I want to say it was 2008. I had it up for a good month or so. It got 6 views and 1 watcher. The full art Rayquaza that I put up, it was only up for a day. It had more views in a day. I took it down. It's no longer for sale. I then put it up the other one was a PSA 10. I put up a PSA 8. It's a shiny Rayquaza, but it's, I don't even know, it must be 2012, I'm going to say. And again, it had more views than the standard holo, but the full art Rayquaza that I had up was just quadruple, 5 times the amount of views. And you see it time and time again. People will put up a Gengar level X holo, and it's like, it's on $800 and it's had 60 views. And then people will have, not $800, it'd be on $80 and it's had like 60 views. And then they put up the Gengar alt art from Fusion Strike, and it's had 700 views. It's on $800. There are just so many more eyes on Modern. And Vintage 2-3 years ago through COVID was buying people new houses, buying people new cars. It was the thing to have. And there's always cycles. It always cycle round. At some point it's going to pop off again. But if you're starting right now, it's very hard to find minty, good condition older cards. So if you're okay having a binder of your original cards and you're like, oh, I brought a damaged Mewtwo, a damaged Venusaur, damaged Blastoise at London Card Show, I'll pay £10, £30, £40. You're not going to grade them. It's just memories. That's fine. But if you're thinking now, I want to buy something, I want to grade it, I want it to grow in value, you've got to think that if they bring out in 2 sets time that, Christ no, even use the 151 Blastoise. It's an Arita full art Blastoise underwater. You're going to buy it cheap. I don't know, probably 50 quid. Grade it is going to be worth, I don't know, maybe 100. Again, do you think a Blastoise full art card, if you stay in this game for 10 years now, do you think in 10 years it's going to go up by £1, or do you reckon it could double, treble? It's probably going to double or treble in it, let's be realistic. So you have to then decide vintage or modern. And that's entirely up to you. I would buy both. I'm an idiot. I'm not in this to make money. I'm here just to collect. But modern is doing so well right now. The ARs are cheap and are stunning. You could argue a damaged Wizard of the Coast card from Jungle looks worse and is in worse condition for the same price. Why would you bother buying it? So bear that in mind. And then lastly, I would say we'll talk about sealed collecting and grading. So sealed can be good. I brought a Rayquaza Poncho Pikachu box in 2019. They retailed at probably 40 quid after import fees, maybe 50. I brought one in 2019 for £120 on eBay. I've seen an open one. They opened it, checked the promos, they're off centre, so they put it back in the box, showed it was open. It sold for like £2,600 for an opened one. There's currently 3 sealed ones on eBay. 3 sealed ones listed on eBay. The prices are ludicrous. 5 grand, 7 grand, 14 grand. It's pie in the sky. No one's buying that. But trust me, I've got 3 people who have shown interest in buying my Rayquaza box. One of them offered me a trade for, I think it was 2004 in value. Another one offered me a trade for 2005, and that was actually a Mario Pikachu Raw, 600 quid. Good deal, but no interest, if I'm honest. And then the other one has said, like, he can get to all cash, but he wants to be at 2-3. And it's like, I'm sorry, an open one sold for 2006. I've been to every bloody London Card Show for the last 5 times. I've seen the Charizard one in a box sat there. I've seen the Mario and the Luigi sat there in a box. I've never seen the Rayquaza one there in a box. The 2 cards inside it are selling, if you open them and get 9s because they're off centre, they're selling for about 1,200-1,300 quid each. Well, there's 2006. The deck box makes good money. The sleeves make good money. You've got 5 packs in there. They're vintage packs now. They're going to make good money. I'm sorry, your 2003, 2004 price range, I've just got no interest in. Especially I've seen an open one sell for 2006, 2007. So I will sell that item when I hit my price, cash out, put it into the slabs. That's what I will do. I brought a Cosmic Eclipse box, probably, what's that? Cosmic Eclipse, was that 3 years ago now? Brought it retail, 110, 120 from my LGS. It's now selling for about £800, £850. And then you get like silly little ones. Alt arts are big, Evolutions are big, as I've said in this video. They did some VMAX collection boxes. Each one comes with 2 alt arts of, say, Vaporeon. They were 40 quid, probably at retail, they're now at probably, I guess, probably say £80 to £120 a box. So I do dabble in sealed. I've sold a couple of big sealed items last year. I sold a CP6 box. I paid £103 for it in 2019. I sold it for 2k. I sold a GX Ultra Shiny box. I bought that at retail, 60 quid. I sold that for £5.85, I think it was. Sealed has potential, but again, time in the market beats knowledge. If there is a set and it has evolutions, if it has a Charizard, if it has a Mewtwo, a Lugia alt art in, there are sets now like that. Fusion Strike right now you will buy for 130. It's got the Gengar, it's got an Espeon, it's got a Mew. It's common knowledge. That box, it's already sold out in America. It's doubled in price. It's up to about $280. When it sells out on the Pokemon Center website, £144, you can't get it anywhere else. It's already sold out at the £100, £120 price range from Total Cards, Chaos Cards. When it sells out on the Pokemon website, it's going to go from $144 to $200 overnight. And then even if it goes up by £20 the following year, £20 the following year, £20 the following year, it's nice to know that, oh yeah, my box is now worth, say, 260 quid. It only took 3 years to get there. But you've got to think, if you're happy to spend make £120 in 3 years, if you'd just done an extra 5 hours work a week for the next 3 weeks, you would have made more money. If you're on £11 an hour, it's 55, 55, 55. Just do a bit of overtime at work. Like, you have to put this all into context, like when we're talking about gaining value in Pokemon cards. And I think a lot of people, they think that this next card, again, like I was saying, like people think the Messi Auto 1 of 1 is going to be worth 100 grand in 10 years time. Well, I've got news for you. None of these cards in 10 years are going to be the price of a first edition Charizard at 400 grand. You haven't got a flying fuck of a chance. But could you buy an alt art at the next card show for 200 and in 10 years it's worth 2k? Yes, that is absolutely possible. But equally, if you had 200 goes on the lottery next Wednesday, could you also win 2k? Well, yeah, that's possible as well, isn't it? Like, it's unlikely, but anything's possible. But don't just do this for the monetary gains. Do it because you enjoy it, and if you get money out of it on the back end, well, that's fantastic. Who's going to ever turn down free money? And that brings me to your grading. Just get a binder, collect your... What example did we use earlier? I can't even think now. But say we're... Oh, it was Hitmonchan, wasn't it? Go out, buy your Hitmonchan cards, get a binder. There's probably a good tip for any of you out there. Go to a website called Bulbapedia, Bulbpedia. Type in Bulbapedia Hitmonchan. It will show you every single Pokemon card from every single set ever made in English and in Japanese. Get a binder, go out, fill it. Quality. But if you're doing it on the back end at some point to try and make money, grading is good. It is still expensive. It's still going to cost you about £14 a card now on bulk. If you're going to send off a £3,000 card on bulk, you're probably going to get an upcharge, 80, 100 quid on top, something stupid like that. So take the risk. If it gets through, great. If you've got to pay an upcharge, great. But what I will say is there was a point in time where, I'm just going to take a random value. If a £20 card and a 10 became worth £200, you could say the 9 is probably worth £80. So either way, if you bought this card at £20, if it's a 10, bang, 200. If it's a 9, boom, 80 quid. I've still made money. And then anything under that, you would basically just sell it to get your money back. PSA 9s at this current moment in time. Now, this isn't a flat-out statement. Yes, if you've got a PSA 9 first edition that's 20 years old, if you've got a bloody Moonbreon in a PSA 9, you're probably going to be doing a bit better than the raw price. But a lot of these shows now, if you go to them and you've got this nice little card, an example for you, I had the Charizard alt art from Brilliant Stars. Got it in a trade. I binned off 2 cards that I got a decade ago for under £5. Someone went, oh mate, can I take them? Yep, take it. I got the Charizard card. It's valued at probably £90 at a guess. It was off top to bottom, like way off. There's no way it was getting a 10 on that centering. If a centre off got a 10, I think it's probably worth 240, 250 now. Nice. I got a free trade, send it off, bang, it's a 10, and I got 250. It wouldn't. It's going to get a 9. It was a 9 all day. There's no whitening. The corners were good. Top to bottom was off. It was going to get a 9. I think that card in a 9, you might scrape 100. You might scrape 105, 110. Okay, yeah, it's £20 more than the raw price. Don't forget you've just spent £15 to grade it. So if you pull that card out of a pack and it's off centre, the packs cost you £4. Just sell it for 90 and be done with it. Don't pull it for £4. Spend 15 quid to grade it, so you're now in it for that little bit more. It comes back a 9, and it's going to sell for the same as the raw price. It's just daft. Also, this is going to cause issues. Black labels mean stuff to some people. If you want to buy 50 of the same card and send it off and hope that one of them comes black label, and you find a mug who's going to pay you... An example the other day, there was a £30 Charizard card, and let's go check the time quick. There was a £30 Charizard card. Because it got a black label at Beckett, someone paid $660 for it. Like, ludicrous. You're collecting Pokemon cards, you're not collecting labels of a grading company. It's moronic. CGC are dirt cheap, no one wants them. They keep changing their grading scale, they keep changing their slab, they keep changing their label. I've got no trust in the company at all. People will come to like your ace grading. Again, you've got your card. You're very, very happy to have this lovely card. Well, why do you want it with a purple label with specks of fire on because it's a Gengar? You want your card protected. It does protection, yes. Slabs aren't to look good. If you think they look good, then great. They're all about protection. If there's a leak, if there's anything wrong, if you drop your card, it's all about protection. You do not need your labels to look nice. And if you're like, well, I want my labels to look nice, that's great. But that same card, if it's worth £500 on a PSA 10, because you've got this fancy, pretty label, guess what? You'll get £400 on an Ace 10. The American market don't want it, and that's where most of the buyers are. And you're literally, because you wanted a fancy label, you're losing, say, £100 in value on your card. It is moronic. I could go into a whole rant on Ace grading and Ace labels and other grading companies, but my opinion is, if you're going to grade, use PSA. They are the biggest. They're not getting caught. They're just buying SGC. They're probably, in 6 months' time, they'll probably buy Beckett, because Beckett is a failing company. Stick with the industry leader until there is proof that they are no longer leading. But I'm going to halt the video there just before the half-hour mark again. I think, what did we go through? Why are you getting back into it? Do it because you've got a spark, because you've got a genuine interest. What should you collect? I would say always go for popular Pokemon that other people will want. Evolutions are big. Your Mewtwo's, your Charizards, your Pikachus, your Lugias, your Gengars. Sealed, there is potential, but you have to be patient. In my opinion, booster boxes are better than collection boxes. And ETBs, they look nice, they sell well, but if they suddenly go up to £500 per ETB, £300 per ETB, you're getting 9 to 11 packs these days. There's no guarantee you're going to get anything in there. The booster box might be double, triple the price, but you're getting guaranteed hits. So I think long term, people will always want the booster boxes. I've got out of the habit of buying ETBs. I was a sucker for ETBs and collection boxes. I've completely stopped. Do you want vintage or modern? Again, it's going to peak and up, down over time. Just collect what you like. And should you grade? Personally, if you want to make money down the line, I would grade. If you're just getting damaged cards in a binder, there's no need to grade. If you do grade, use PSA. It's as simple as that. If there's any questions, if there's anyone who watches this and you want a follow-up video, shoot some comments down below. You know my Instagram is Pompey Blue Blastoise or Pompey's _other_stuff. That's my non-Pokemon account. I will share this on there because a few sports people were interested. But that's basically all I've got today. Any queries, whack them down below. Any difference of opinion, whack it down below. And I'll never say this because I'm not a YouTuber, but these 30-minute videos, Christ, like it, share it, subscribe. At least then I know that, God, it was worth it to one person at least. So thank you for listening. Hope, if you're a person coming back to Pokemon after 20 years, if you're a person in sports cards wanting an opinion on Pokemon cards, there's a general little idea from our point of view. And I'll see you all in the next video. See you later. Goodbye.